Hello, you guys. Thank you for joining me today. I don't know if you saw my Insta story, but I'm going to be having a special guest, Timon. Is it Timon? Timon. I don't know. He's going to let us know when he come on the live, but he's an actor from Queen Sugar, if you guys aren't familiar. So I'm just waiting for him to join, and as soon as he does, we're going to get this interview started. I hope y'all are having a good day. It's kind of gloomy here, but, you know, we here, so that's a blessing. You know what I'm saying? Come on, T. Join us. Join the live. Hey, DeAndres. Thank you for joining. I'm just waiting for the guest of honor to join the live. Gotta sip a little tea. It's chilly out here today. I hope y'all staying safe. Let me ping him real quick to see, just to make sure. Come on, Cletus. There you are. Okay, let me do how I do this. View. Is it good? I think it's good. Connecting. I got crazy Wi-Fi. Hey!
Yay!
How's it going?
Man, I'm chilling.
Thank you so much for joining us today.
That's all good. You know, appreciate you having me, amongst all this madness and chaos going on.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Like, it is so crazy.
Yes, it's a little wigged out right now.
Right. So
yeah.
I saw you. Well, before we get started, let me just introduce myself in case anybody don't know. I'm Kelly Brew, and this is my blog. And I'm not even sure if you know, but I used to work with Sister to Sister magazine, and that's kind of like how me and Shanita met. We used to do red carpets and stuff. So I used to design a magazine, and then I would contribute to it, write articles, and interview amazing people such as yourself. So, and that is why we're here today, to talk about you and, what's all going on in the world today.
Yeah. It's, these are some different times. I tell people a lot. I've been telling them for years that, we live in a world that has become very unpredictable and very surprising. I know a lot of people didn't see this coming. My weird self, I did. And, I get a lot of people saying, hey, man, what should we do? Where should we go? What should we get? What's going on? What's next? What do you think? And I just tell people, this is a time where we all need to wake up and have an understanding that in many cases, potentially and actually right now, we are in the fight for our lives in certain instances. People are dealing with a lot of mental health issues because the social fabric is being unraveled day by day. And the social distancing, people are taking it to an extent to where it's very social or antisocial because people seem to be afraid to interact with one another. For instance, I run up this hill down the street from where I live. A little bit ways. I walk all the way to the hill, and then I run up and down it for exercise. And I'm walking up. Sometimes I get tired and I'm walking up, or I'm just taking a break, and people will walk. They are all the way out in the street, like I got razor blades sticking out my arm or something like that. Like this, like I'm radioactive, and it's gotten to the point where people everyone's afraid of each other. So this is a time where people need to have an understanding of what's going on and wake up, and just start to see things. I don't want to put any theories out there because I know a lot of people have. We got millions of people, hundreds of millions of people in this country. And I don't want to offend anyone's sensibilities or undermine their thought processes of this world paradigm. But there's a lot of stuff going on that's very disruptive, and it's causing a lot of problems for people. So I think that we need to, instead of being so socially distant, I understand physical distance because everyone's afraid of the illness that's spreading and the information that surrounds it is causing a lot of fear. But I think that fear is fueled by, unfortunately, I don't mean to offend, but that fear is fueled by ignorance. A lot of people aren't paying attention to what's going on, and they're just accepting the narrative. And again, not to insult anyone, but I think if people start to dig a little deeper, they'll have an understanding what we're up against. So
yeah, I feel you on that. Well, so if you don't mind speaking, like, how do you feel about? I don't know if you heard what Trump recently said about being like the authority over everything, even if
yeah,
governors don't want to open up
yeah,
back up right now.
something
Like he
about where
does it.
the power of the president is total.
Yeah.
Constitutionally, that is not true. In actuality, I don't really know what the truth is, because with the way things are going, it looks like things look very different for people now. They're like, what's going on? Because this is far from the norm. Within a month, and what's today, the 15th?
Yeah, no, it's 14.
The 14th,
right?
So in a little over a month, when things started to get banned and postponed and shut down, we've gone from a society of normality, regularity, just stuff, not regularity, but normalcy. Mm-hmm. And now, you see every day the crime is increasing. They're saying crime is down, not according to what's going on the ground. When you're talking to people, it's a real different time when you have a president can go out and publicly say something that's not true, not constitutionally. Now, unless things have changed, I've been seeing reports about how the presidential seal is not on the podium where he speaks. It's been missing a few times.
Oh yeah, I didn't notice, but
people are making reports saying that certain things that he's saying, like I saw one, I guess, press conference or what have you, where he said that this is a military operation to fight COVID-19. Mm-hmm. And I'm just like, what?
Yeah.
What is, and then not to make small of the numbers, but from what I've been reading from different reports, because I'm not a nurse, I'm not a doctor, I haven't lost anyone directly with me, but there are people that I know that have died, that they say died because of it. Mm-hmm. Several people, fathers, sisters, mothers, siblings, friends, and it's just it's upsetting, and it's frustrating to hear, someone who holds the highest office in the land according to the Constitution to say something like that.
Yeah.
Especially now. I mean, it's just a crazy time, man.
Yeah, I have to take it in doses. Like, I have to, just tune out sometimes and, focus on some other things. Most of my art in the background I've done during quarantine to stay, just away from it, because it's like, you got to balance it out. I want to stay informed, but at the same time, it's like you said, it can be really frustrating. Yeah. Like, how has this situation impacted you? Like, are you still filming right now? Because season 5 of Queen Sugar is supposed to come out soon, right?
Yeah. It usually comes out in June.
Are you guys done filming, or you still Oh no! Is this? No. Has it been like a slowdown because of this?
Well, there aren't many. I don't know of any productions going on. I know we're not working. I was there filming, and then we had to shut down. So we film in New Orleans, and I was there.
Okay.
And then
that's right.
2 days after I got there, I was back on the plane back home.
Wow.
Because, we had to stop. And, I told people, I said, don't be surprised if we get a call saying that we have to stop, because, we're not exempt from, the law or things that are going on, different rules and stuff like that. So, it's affecting a lot of people. Unemployment is at an all-time high. It says record-breaking unemployment requests, where there are certain locations in certain states that are not accepting any more applications because the influx has been, very great. And if you only got 50 states and you got millions of people applying, if you divide those numbers, that's a lot of people per state. Yeah. So, and then you got some states that are much bigger than other ones. Like, you think Rhode Island compared to Texas, Texas is humongous. And there's a lot of people there that are out of work, unfortunately. And this is, like I said, it's affecting me. I mean, I'm okay. I mean, I'm not struggling, but some people are.
Yeah, a lot of people are.
Yeah. So we're not filming right now. Um, and I'm just, I'm a homebody for the most part anyway, so I'm not going through uh, any traumatic adjustments where certain folks are just losing it.
Yeah, it's funny. I was gonna ask you that too. Like, are you introvert, extrovert? I kind of felt like you was gonna say that. Okay, I'm the same. Like, it's not bothering me so much, but I do feel for people, that are having issues because mental health is everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, people are going through a lot. They're not used to not being able to. I mean, you think about it, and there's no sports. This is a lot of reruns. There are no. You can't go to happy hour. You can't go to the library. You can't go to a concert or a theater to watch a movie. You can't gather. You can't go to a picnic or a birthday party.
Yeah.
Some people can't go to work. Children aren't going to school, and especially for these little babies that are used to being out and about and not being able to expend all that youthful energy. They're upset and going through it as well. So this thing is it's disruptive at the least, and quite dangerous if it continues to go this way, because things are starting to unravel a little bit. More laws are being imposed, and more crimes are being committed. People are, attacking folks in the parking lots, taking the groceries. There are reports of that.
Yeah, it's so crazy.
Breaking
in, stealing toilet paper and stuff.
Right. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
But let me ask you this. I saw you in an interview, I think it was on The Real or something, and you were talking about how the first season of Queen Sugar was the crew was all women, like the directors, the producers, and everything.
Yeah, all the directors for the first 4 seasons have been women.
Oh, the first 4 seasons. Wow, that is
all
so
women.
Awesome.
Yeah, and it's good to me. It's been a male driven and a male dominated industry, and I think that I don't think talent should be or the recognition of talent should be relegated to just one gender. Mm-hmm. I don't see anything wrong with a woman directing an episode or a man directing an episode. Mm-hmm. And I just thought it was kind of cool to be a part of something very trailblazing, as that, to be a part of a series that is ensuring the employment of these women who were not beforehand, some of them given a chance, and now some of them are working so much because of it. You can't get them because they're always working. So I think that's great. A lot of careers have been built and have flourished because of an opportunity, just one opportunity. Mm-hmm. So I think that's dope. You plant a seed and it grows, and it provides something with more seeds they can put out and make a harvest of great opportunities. So.
Yeah, I absolutely love that show. It's one of my favorite shows, and I think it's so valuable to our culture. And if you're a person that is involved in your family ancestry or history and things like that, a lot of us can relate to it, having family from the South and
mm-hmm.
Having land down there and stuff. It's a show that's very valuable.
Yeah.
But do you have like any experiences that you could share with us, or any interesting stories, maybe behind the scenes stuff that happens?
It's all kind of cool stuff. I mean, I being down in New Orleans, the New Orleanians, they treat us so well. They welcome us. They talk to us. They, people as old enough to be my grandparents are coming and saying how much they enjoy the show and how they like how the show really embraces the richness of mm-hmm. New Orleans, and hiring people who actually, like, the dialect down there is very distinct. Mm-hmm. And my character is not from New Orleans, and people would always say, you should call it this and this called that, and we don't call it that here. And I said, Davis West is not from New Orleans. He just says what he knows it to be, like on the map or whatever. I don't Davis West doesn't know the nicknames. So, you get all these different people that come and show their appreciation. People that live there who actually worked on the show, and you see them again that live there, and it's building like a communal energy where people have something that is representative of themselves that they enjoy, and it feels good to the other people feel good about what you do.
Yeah.
It's like when you cook a plate of food with somebody and they say, man, that was good. It makes you feel good to be able to give something to somebody and they appreciate and love what you do. When you love what you do, it's a win-win.
Yeah,
but I get some I do get some of the sisters who, you know, can't separate the character from the actor, and I get the looks.
It's so
And,
funny. Oh, you knew that was coming, right? I was
yeah,
gonna say, because you know, I ain't gonna lie, I just like hated your character a little bit on that show.
yeah. I mean, you
And
know,
and
it,
you
it
played another character. You played that kind of role again. And
yeah.
that Pride, was it Pride and Prejudice?
I
This
played Pride and
in
Prejudice
Atlanta, Pride and
Atlanta.
Prejudice Atlanta. I
Yeah,
was like, I'm gonna get
that one.
him.
And I played that the evil dude in the Marriage Council, the play with a Tyler Perry play I was in. I played another less than desirable guy in Single Ladies, another pro athlete who, you know, but I mean, Queen Sugar is the one where, you know, I don't mind playing the bad guy. You know, it's fun. But I just, you know, I tell people like, listen, that's not me. That dude is not, I'm not that guy, you know.
Right.
So,
I know that, but a lot of people don't know that. But you play it so well, so it's just like that's also kudos to you for doing such a great job. So.
oh man, I appreciate it. I appreciate it. You know, if I'm gonna be the bad guy, you know, I gotta earn them checks. You know, I think I like the fact that some people can't. It's not an ego thing. It's just like, man, you know, like some of these people really don't want to deal with me because of the character that I play. So I feel like I'm doing my job in some form of fashion. So.
Oh my goodness, that's crazy. But so right now you're on another show. You're on a new show.
Yeah,
Stuck with you.
Yeah.
Okay, so what does that come on? How can we support that?
I think it's
What's
on,
it about? Tell us what it's about too.
Well, Candace and Lavelle. Candace is played by Tammy Townsend. We're a husband and wife, and we're having not really a love-hate relationship, but we're trying to figure out how to manage our private life and our agreement with our public persona as this it couple that people see, and this love and all of this stuff, and you know, behind closed doors, it's not really like that. And they're trying to, you know, I mean, there's a lot of hurt and ego and business that goes with this relationship that they're trying to navigate through. Lavelle, he loves Candace. Candace loves Lavelle, but they're struggling with how to love one another and make things work. And you know, and there are some other stories that follow along as just different pockets of love stories where these people are trying to, you know, just navigate through what we know to be love amongst various people. And you know, the story is I like the fact that this character is not necessarily this bad guy, but he's in a bad situation, and he, you know, he still has to do a lot of the stuff that people are like, well, he should do this and she should do that. I like those stories and the roles that I play that kind of get people riled up a little bit, you know, because it's not boring. It gets the juices flowing. It gets people going. So I like that. If I play a good guy or a bad guy, I just want to convey a clear enough message and do a good enough job to where people are engaged and not just watching something, but they're having an experience. So I like what I do. So
clearly,
yeah.
Where does it come on? What's the network and what time and stuff does it come on?
It's on UMC. It's streaming now. We did all the first the first season is done, but you can still watch it. You can just download the app, the UMC app. And it's wherever it's streaming, but you can get the app. I have it on my phone, so I just downloaded it and watched it. And you know, I don't like watching myself too much. I watch myself once and be like, okay, that's it. And then people ask me questions. Well, what about this scene? I'm like, wait a minute, I got to go back and watch it. You know, so. But yeah, I mean, I did that, and then I was being considered for some other stuff, but not right now. You know, your girl Rona done messed it up. You know.
I know, right? So, like, she needs to go. Like, I'm sick of her.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Yeah, she's tripping. Hold on 1 second.
Okay. Hey, Randy.
There's some noise out there.
Listen, same. I'm trying to cover up my family in the background with this ambient sound in the background. But anyway.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people just at home not doing that, so they jamming to their tunes or they blasting their TVs. You know, like people got their whole stereo sound systems and stuff everywhere. You know, people riding around in their loud motorcycles. But no, like going back like to the Queen Sugar and Stuck with You and Single Ladies and Pride and Prejudice. Even with the film that I did called Everyday But Christmas, I played where I played the lead. This guy, he's not a fan of Christmas, and he has to, find a better way of thinking about things. And at first, he wasn't the best guy, and then he becomes a better guy. So I like having that kind of that balance where I can do a little bit of both. It's fun. I like getting people riled up with my characters, and then when I'm off camera, it was like I'm just a chill dude, just a regular guy. Yeah.
Okay. So what's some fun stuff that you've been doing to like get through this time being at home?
Well, I'm I don't go out a lot anyway, so I just go get groceries and stuff. But then other than that, if I'm not working out, I'm working on a science fiction novel.
Okay, what's
And
that
now
about?
oh well, I'll just give the log line. Um, a struggling epidemiologist must escape the clutches of a madman in order to rescue her supernatural daughter from a group of mysterious kidnappers.
Wow.
It's
Okay.
it's some tripped out stuff, and now that I'm not, it's not a lot of auditioning going on, no traveling. I'm not going out of town for any engagements, so I'm not working. So I have a lot of time to just really dig in. Even if I sleep in, I can get up and, try to do a chapter a day. I've taken a few days off with all this information overload, with everything going on, and sitting in front of a computer or a screen for hours and hours on end. Because I'm guilty of it too. It's not a whole lot to do, so you want to stay entertained or informed, and we do that by way of our phones, our tablets, our computers, or our televisions.
Yeah.
And so I just said, I'm in front of these screens too much. It's messing with my eyes. Let me take a step back and and just regroup. But that's coming along. But other than that, the stuff that I like to do, nobody's really doing anything. I like to go camping. I like to go out and go places and see new stuff, and it's not a whole lot that's being allowed. So I just been writing and spending time talking to my friends and family and making sure that they're cool and just relaxing and getting back and getting in shape
Yeah.
and
So what's the first thing you think you're gonna do once they say doors open, go, what you gonna do?
hopefully I'll be getting back to work.
Good
You know,
answer. Yeah.
like, hey, let's finish up this thing. But I know that a lot of my views on this are controversial and contradictory to the status quo. So I don't want to upset people, but I'm just like, it's not looking. I'll say this: I don't think that it's going to be as quick and easy as people are hoping that it's going to be. And it's unfortunate because if you look at everything that's going on, the times when they say, "Oh, it's going to be over at this date," it was supposed to be 2 weeks at first, and here in LA, and then it came to April 30th, and now they're extending it to May 15th.
Yeah.
And I said, look, don't expect for this thing to slow down anytime soon. It's like, imagine if I said, hey, Kelly Brew, I'm about to move out of my place. I'm about to move out. And then you see me start to paint and decorate and get new furniture and start putting up pictures. It doesn't look like I'm moving out, but I'm saying that I am. And so with these short time frames, I think it's intermittent to keep people comfortable. I'm just being honest. And to not get people to panic and go out and do what they did for the toilet paper and the bleach and the alcohol and the sanitizer and cleansers and things like that. I just followed the patterns, and I would love for this thing to be finished, and whatever the truth is comes out, whatever the cure is, whatever the remedy to all of this is, it comes out. But I think that there's a great awakening happening, and people are starting to open their eyes to a reality that they probably were burying their heads in the sand to. But now when it starts to affect you immediately, in an immediate sense, not working, Ubers are not really doing well,
Everybody's impacted. It doesn't matter where you are, CEO to the bottom. Everybody in between is impacted.
Yeah.
And it's just crazy. Even schools are closed. Some schools in this area, I don't know about nationwide, but some schools in this area are closed to the end of the year, which means the beginning of the next school year. And it's like, you
When
know.
you have certain public officials throwing out dates that extend things until, or the experts say that, you know, sporting events and concerts should not convene or reconvene until the fall of next year.
Of next year, 2021.
2021.
Wow.
So if
Wow.
you think about from right now to then, they could be talking about September, October. Let's just see if they're talking about September, beginning of fall. That's almost a month and a half from now. You know, a year and less than 5 months. That would be tragic to a lot of people.
Yeah, most
And you
definitely.
know, people are still, you know, it's just certain things are just not adding up to me, Kelly Brew. Like when you have police chiefs publicly announcing that they're not going to respond to certain calls. Why would you do that? You know, why announce that certain crimes won't be answered by local law enforcement?
Right. But not only why would you do that, but also it makes me question, like, if you can disregard certain petty crimes now, then why is it disproportionately black people, you know, being arrested for such petty crimes in the first place and having to be in jail and waiting for bail that they can't afford, so they're just sitting there for crimes that they haven't even been convicted of yet? Like, it's just so many things that go through my mind when it comes to all of this stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
I feel you. Like,
Yeah,
it's a
it's
lot
just
to think about.
certain things. It's a lot to think about. It's so there's a lot of disinformation, a lot of misinformation. Um, what I've told people for a long time, you know, because you know I have a preparedness mindset. I'm not some guru or anything, but I can see patterns and things, and I can look and say, okay, if that's happening, and that's happening, and that was said, and that happened earlier, this is what we need to do. And
Mm-hmm.
that deductive reasoning is just something that I've had, and there are things that I've called that people are like, how did you know that? I said, you got to look at what's going on. Just pay attention to what's happening. And I think now, which I think is a good thing, is that more and more people are starting to get a you know, that light bulb above their head is
Mm-hmm.
starting to brighten up and say, wait a second, that doesn't make any sense. This isn't adding up. Um, just by the sheer numbers. Uh, yeah, I'll just give an example. You know, cigarettes and cigarette-related deaths numbering over 400,000 per year in this country alone. That's just the numbers that they say. If you think about
Mm-hmm.
that, you know, cigarettes aren't being banned, but yet they have all these federal laws and stuff against marijuana.
And
And
I said the same thing with those vapors too. Like, don't get me wrong, I don't condone the vapors. Anything natural, whatever, do your thing. But when it comes to those vapors, I'm like, it's such a hypocrisy for the government or whatever, you know what I'm saying, to be like, oh, you can't have this. This is bad for you. But cigarettes been killing people for like centuries. Nobody's banning that, and so has
yeah,
alcohol. It's just all in who they want to make money from it, I guess, or whatever. You know,
yeah.
it's just it's.
But it's
Uh,
just so much, and it's I think the information, you know, when you turn on the news or you scroll through your social media, every other thumbnail is going to be COVID-19 news. This many deaths, but they're not talking about the recoveries. They're not talking about how to heal yourself naturally with herbs and roots and plants and
mm-hmm.
things that can help give your body an environment that can fight off this thing, and you won't even have to worry about it. You know, it's
Mm-hmm.
like getting dust on your shoulder. Be like, oh, you know, imagine you got a black shirt. I call it the black shirt theory. You get some on your black shirt, you just kind of go like that and it blends in. But if you got on that light colored shirt and you get some dust, you got to be real careful with it. And
Mm-hmm.
that's what people are doing. The black shirt is your immune system. Like some get on it, just smear it off, you don't even see it. It's nothing. For as a crude example, but a lot of people are, you know, unhealthy, pre-existing conditions. And it's unfortunate that a lot of people now finally realizing the importance of a healthy diet that could have helped ward off a sickness. Not saying that it's guaranteed, but I cut my hair a little bit. I trimmed it, and I feel these hairs on my face. It's like, what is this stuff on me? But you know, and that's part of the awakening that I think that's happening. People are starting to realize what's more important. You know, the
Mm-hmm.
interaction of people. You know, like social media now is starting to get boring because
Mm-hmm.
people are not able to go out and be amongst. We're social creatures, you know. You know, that's why isolation isn't very good. But we've been conditioned in a very short period of time to be fearful of one another, suspicious of one another, and even to the point of telling on one another for doing something that we would ordinarily do because of this invisible monster that we cannot see. And I'm not saying that this virus isn't real. Something is killing people. But I just think that there's a lot of stuff that's going on that doesn't make sense to a lot of folks. And I'm hoping, you know, my sincere hope is that people start to finally wake up and say, hey, you know, that one piece of the puzzle, and they put it there and they say, now it makes sense. You know, so the more pieces of the puzzle, you know, when you first start putting the puzzle together, you don't know what it is. Imagine if someone gave, you know, your puzzle comes in a box and the picture of what it's supposed to look like is on the box.
Right.
There's a meadow with 2 deer and a sunset. But if somebody gave you a bunch of pieces to a puzzle with no picture of what it is, it's going to be even harder to put those pieces together. You can put the blues with the blues and the corners together, but the more pieces you put together, the less of the picture you have to figure out. And after a while, you can have a bunch of pieces missing, but you'll be able to know, okay, based on what I can see now, I know how to put the rest of this together. And so I think that people are starting to, I think that people are starting to understand how to put the pieces of the puzzle that they weren't given a picture to together. And it's upsetting. It's stifling to a degree, the level of fear that people are being put under because they don't know how to put the pieces of the puzzle together. And I'm not saying I got all the pieces, but I think that a lot of people are starting to wake up and say, hey, here's a piece that makes sense. That doesn't make sense. Take that out. That piece doesn't go there. It goes over here.
But and what do you think about the people that's still in denial? Like, have you been seeing the videos with, and especially in the Black communities, particularly where people are still like gathering and just acting as if this is non-existent? Do you think that that's a contributing factor to the numbers that's rising in the Black community?
I can't speak to that because I'm not on the ground at the hospitals and things. I'll say this. I'll use if. If was a fifth, we'd all be drunk. If was a fifth, we'd all be high. I mean, a spliff, we'd all be high. If this thing is what they say that it is, then yes, it's not safe to be around people. However, there's a lot of misinformation, disinformation, and a lot of theories that people come up with their own based on their own experience that make them behave a certain way. Yes, I'm going to go to this birthday party or this underground club that's serving energy drinks and stuff like that. Yes, I'm going to go and have this clandestine get together with my friends because no one's really going to say anything because we won't be that loud. There are things that are going on it's perpetuating a lot of confusion and a lot of dissension based on that confusion. When people say, "Oh man, I don't believe that. I ain't make that. It doesn't make any sense." I just choose to stay to myself because I see there is an abundance of anxiety amongst people who are out, like at the grocery stores or in the lines to get the food or what have you. Just walking down the street, like I say, people will walk around me like I'm radioactive or something like that. That level of fear, I think, is it is so hyped up to where they're making you afraid of this thing. Now, if this thing is the monster that they say that it is, that's not safe. But you have people in different parts of the country that are saying what they're reporting on the news, we're not seeing that here. So what's going on? So I'm like, I don't really know. I don't really trust the mainstream media. I don't trust them at all, really. I go by.
You have to question everything. You have to question everything.
Well, we as the citizenry as a whole, collectively, but more specifically us, we lack critical thinking habits, not skills. We can think, but a lot of us choose not to and just accept what's told to us. And that level of obedience and compliance comes from a plethora of ignorance. And ignorance doesn't mean that you lack intelligence. It means you lack knowledge of so I'm ignorant as to how to build a transmission. I don't know how to do that. I don't know that. So I'm ignorant to that process. That doesn't mean that I'm ignorant in total. It doesn't mean that It's, and I don't mean that. I see people in the comments saying that it's real, and I know that it's real because I have loved ones and friends who've lost people. But getting back to my point, I think that a lot of people, like even with how to take care of yourself naturally, I've helped people and then having knowledge of herbs and certain things to do and to help boost your immune system. A lot of people don't really know what that is because it's not been made readily available to them, the knowledge of it and the access to it. So they're not, people aren't going to really, if they're really not into it, if it's not presented to them or if it's not available, they're not going to be,
Can you
heavily
share like
into it.
maybe 2 or 3 of your top things that you feel like will help people right now with their immune systems?
There's a lot of elderberry, black seed oil, sunlight,
Right.
fresh air, a lot of water, drinking certain teas, like mullein tea helps to get rid of junk and mucus out of your, I don't know if I'm saying it right, mullein, Mullein.
Okay.
It is, it helps to get, mucus and junk out of the lungs. There are a lot of different natural remedies. Burdock root helps cleanse the blood, as does beet juice.
Yeah, I
Apples
got the
are,
beet juice and the elderberry on deck.
oh yeah, man, that stuff, man, that beet juice is potent, man. But there's just a lot of stuff that just help to stay healthy. And I hope that this awakening of people recognizing that things could be different because nobody expected this. Nobody expected all of the sports to be canceled.
I feel like that's when you knew. Like,
Yeah,
it's crazy.
but there's a lot of things. Exercise helps boost the immune system. Laughter, fear helps to diminish the immune system. Get on the phone and talk to your friend and make you laugh and give you that good energy. A lot of things are energetic. It's not just the things that we can see and touch and feel. There's an invisible energy, the same way that fear can be promoted and spread out and it can be contagious and perpetuated. Knowledge, compassion, empathy, a lending ear to someone who may have lost. A friend of mine, he just lost his sister 2 weeks ago. Just out, gone. And it helps him to talk to his friends to know that that to have people there for him in his time of need, just that emotional component. But there's a lot of things, and it's not cookie cutter for everyone.
Yeah.
There are some things that make people sick. I have a friend of mine, he can't drink beet juice. Messes him up. It doesn't agree with him, I guess. Maybe it's not, maybe it's, I don't know. But
yeah, I've heard that with elderberry too. It affects people differently and stuff. So,
so
you gotta do what works for you. But there's so much, like you said.
So it's best, it would behoove you to have a wider knowledge of these different things, so that we can, ward off the stuff. I'd rather, make myself strong enough to not catch it than to, catch it and have to deal with it. And again, to anybody listening, I don't want to make light of it. I know that it is real, but there's another component to it that I don't understand. Some of the numbers, I don't understand some of the behaviors and some of the draconian laws and different dictates that are being foisted upon us, based on this. And that's just my personal opinion. I think that more things may be coming down the pipe. And I think just like when people weren't ready to have to stay in place or stay at home order or not go to school or go to work or travel, go to certain states where they are, demanding that you be quarantined for 14 days if you come from certain cities, checkpoints. A lot of people don't know about this stuff because they're not going anywhere. So certain things just aren't adding up to me. But it is unfortunate that we are living in an age where something can disrupt the social fabric of society and to take lives the way that it's doing. And not just here. You got some places where they're all up on top of one another. Some people are upset that they got to stay at home by themselves. And some people are upset because they got to stay at home with too many people and one person is sick. Taking up one room for social distancing. You hear about these stories.
Right. And the domestic violence and child abuse cases and stuff it's a lot.
Yeah, it's for some people it's too much. And think about it, Kelly Brew, it's only been since what, second week of March.
Yeah, I mean, well, technically, there were reports like they were saying that in Georgia or some other areas as early as December, but it wasn't like a thing until January. Right. But they still didn't really take it serious until March.
Right, until
and that set us back.
When things started getting shut down is what I mean. Like people can't.
Yeah, that really set us back.
Yeah, and and then another component that I think I don't. Well, I'll say this. I've never lived in an age where you can walk into a bank with a mask on.
Yeah.
And there is I mean, think about this. People wearing masks and gloves everywhere. That environment is ripe for crime.
I know. It's that I never thought I would see this either. You get used to seeing it in other places around the world, but it's like when it hits home and you see it everywhere, and it does kind of have that eerie feeling, like anything could pop off at any time, and people got masks on, and it's like, well.
Yeah, it's a heavy load for some people. The homeschooling for parents with school-age children and high school-age children who are antsy and don't want to stay at home and are having a hard time concentrating because they're not used to being cooped up for weeks at a time. And it's just, there are so many things. Like I said, when I talk about how, and I'm going to go here for a second. You think about the movie The Purge and all those people that go out committing crimes. Most of them have their faces covered. Then you have real life police chiefs and officials, superintendents, whatever the rankings are, the higher ups, who publicly say that we're not going to respond to certain calls because of the COVID-19 threat to the officers. But what doesn't make sense to me is when you see these officers go and break up these groups because they're not social distancing based on the new demands by the law. These officers don't have on masks or gloves.
I know, right?
And it just it doesn't make any sense. Like I saw a video of a guy, he had a black jacket and jeans, dark colored, I guess, in a radio, and he was kicking people off the bus that didn't have on a mask. Now, mind you, you're out here yelling, and your little particulates can be spreading out throughout, since they say this thing can travel 13 feet and stay on shoes. If it can stay on your shoe, it can definitely stay on someone's face. And you're yelling at people in this bus, and you don't have on a mask, sir. And I didn't see a badge or anything. So I'm like, what is going on? So when you look at all the things that are happening, you can't be in public or on public transportation without a mask. Police are telling folks we're not going to answer certain calls. Officers are getting sick. That is a recipe for a lot of crime to be committed, and the crime has been going up. And, like I said, I've never lived in a time where you can walk into a bank with a mask on and things are fine.
But it's not all fine for people that look like us, because I don't know if you've been seeing some of the reports where Black people have been harassed by police because they have on a mask, and it's like, you damned if you do and damned if you don't. It's just definitely crazy out here.
It's creating an environment where they can criminalize pretty much everything. You can't go into the store without a mask on, and if, like I said, no one wants to get sick, but to go up to people, brutalize them, or to threaten them with arrest when people are just trying to, people are out of work, and some folks may not, want to drive, or they can't drive, or they can't afford to drive, and they have to walk to the store. Maybe they haven't been able to buy a mask. They were in short supply until recently. This is another thing that I find strange, and I know a lot of times we don't know the source of things, but the way that people were walking past me like I was radioactive, like you saw this woman, keeping her distance from me. But then they'll pull up, and I don't know if you've seen it where you are or whoever's watching. There are people who are on the corner. People on the corner selling flowers or selling umbrellas if it's raining. Now they're selling masks. you know, for $5, and you're afraid to walk past me, but you'll buy a mask off the corner and trust it. Not saying that this is anything nefarious going on or anything, but the level of fear is, I think it's a little, I think people's actions aren't measuring up to what their fears are, you know, to what their fears are. You know, you're afraid to walk past me with your mask on, but you will go and buy this mask from this person who's not wearing a mask and is not handing them to you with gloves on when you buy it, you know. And so the moment they touch that mask, it can be tainted with the virus. So it's just a lot of stuff that's happening. But I'm imploring people, look, even if you just go out in your yard, you know, this isn't like pollen or radiation,
Right.
You know, like fallout. I think, you know, go out, get some sunlight, get some fresh air, listen to some music. If their favorite DJ is doing a live session on IG, which, I mean, I'm thankful. Like my homie D Nice, you know, what he was doing, and all these other DJs and these comedians that are going on and doing these live things and making people laugh. I mean, we need that. Yes, it's unfortunate that we have to do that from look at that. You hear them sirens?
Like, what is happening? I saw someone's apartment building was caught on fire recently. I'm like, yo, that's like the worst nightmare. Like, people do not need them kind of problems right now. Like, people just stay calm, be safe, and you know, it's crazy. I hope everything's okay over there.
It's like when we were filming in New Orleans, you know, when I got there, you can still kind of feel the when we were on the plane, you know, when I was on the plane, everyone on the way there, and I even had mine too, because I do this anyway, because, you know, people get off a plane, they touch stuff, and I don't know how they clean the plane, so I have my Clorox wipes, and I always wipe down my seat and stuff. You know, people go to sleep, they touch their face, they're touching everything, and I'm like, you know, I've gotten sick. You know I've gotten sick from being on the flight when people go on there, and I'm sitting next to someone who's coughing and sneezing, and I can't breathe because the flight is full. And you know, so I understand that, but I had never seen like 50% at least of what I can see of the passengers on that plane. Everyone's pulling wipes out of their little Ziploc bags.
I feel like that's gonna be the new normal. Like, moving forward.
But I can guarantee you that plane had probably never. The plane smelled brand new by the time we took off. I was like, it's fragrant. It smelled like perfume and Clorox and lights. It just smelled clean. I was like, my God, you know, so maybe if people did that, you know, if we did that kind of thing, it would help. But you know, like I said, when I was in New Orleans, there was already that buzz of, you know, the COVID-19 scare, and everyone was just fearful already. Like, what are we going to do? And I'm like, well, you know, and these are people like, you know, young college students. We were filming, you know, I'll just say near a college campus. I can't say what's going on, but we were near one. And you see the young adults walking around, and this is what they're talking about. Normally they're talking about all the other stuff that, you know, younger folks talk about. And COVID-19 was on everybody's lips. So when you grow up in a time where you're old enough as a young kid to remember 9/11, since then, you know, and then now things are you hear in history about bread lines and food shortages and you know, unrest and political upheavals and things like that. You know, we are witnessing, you know, I'm an old head, I guess, in a sense. So I'm old enough to remember when you can you know, there were like things weren't as we witnessed so much suffering nowadays that it has become commonplace. You hear about somebody getting shot or killed, or we bomb somebody, or some mass shooter. It's become so commonplace that we'll just hashtag and pray for folks, because this is something that's become the norm.
Right.
And, you know, it's hard to not think that it's affecting the minds of the youth to constantly see violence and death and anxiety everywhere in the news with the political parties. You know, the video games are excessively violent. The television
Mm-hmm.
series and the TV shows with the level of death and sex and destruction and explosions and gunfire and killing and violence and abuse. Um, it's everywhere. Uh,
Right. That's why you
and
gotta find that balance. You have to balance it out because
mhm.
it's definitely thick
It's
in that
yeah,
way.
it's very thick. It's our society is replete with violence and destructive stuff. And you know this thing right here. I don't think it's gotten as violent as it could be. I'm hoping that there are no disruptions in the food distribution and the water distribution, especially in this city, uh, because it doesn't rain often here as other places. Even though we've been getting some appreciable rain recently, but
Mm-hmm.
you know, uh, when you start to see lines of cars getting food that I think it's like they were just giving food away. Like you don't know what you're gonna get, but you're gonna get
Yeah,
stuff.
I've never seen anything like that before.
Yeah.
Like all across the country,
Yep.
these
A lot of
massive
places.
lines
Yep.
for just for food. It's
Yeah.
like,
Yep. And you know, if people don't, this is my hope that that supply chain doesn't get disrupted because you know if people will fight on Black Friday over flat screen TV, you got a 60 inch, but you got to have that 70 inch, and you about to fight this dude for it. What you think people are gonna do for food? They will do
exactly.
they will do whatever they need to do to feed and hydrate and protect themselves and their families if they have it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just hoping that it doesn't get that bad.
Yeah.
But you know, you're already hearing reports of people being attacked in certain grocery store chain parking lots, um, and um, you know, people getting their homes broken into, and the kitchens have been rummaged through, not the jewelry, you
Mm-hmm.
know, not the TV. People are breaking into folks' house for
Yes,
food,
I have heard these stories on the
and
news.
yeah, you're like, wow. And if that's happening already, and this time keeps getting extended, and you have certain authorities saying that experts say that sporting events and things, you know, of large gatherings should not reconvene until almost a year and a half from now.
Mm.
That's a big yikes, man. Like, wait, you know, and people are still not working. Unemployment is not being doled out to most people. That stimulus check that people may get if you qualify, that's, you know, a lot of people are going to be playing catch up when they get it. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it might be like, hey, I'll pay you the rent when I get it, and when I get my stimulus check, or my car note, or my car insurance, or you know, whatever it is, food. You know,
Yeah.
a lot of people are being forced to choose between being warm and being full, or being, you know, mobile and being, you know, or being hungry.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, I just saw that somebody MSDLG just said that's why bullets and guns are flying off the shelves. Well, they ain't flying off the shelves in LA County no more because they stopped the sale of it.
Oh yeah, they did.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I heard about that though. I heard people were like buying up ammo and
Listen,
stuff, and
you'd have thought you'd have thought that some superstar said I got a free concert tonight. The way folks was lined up, I mean, lined up, and the shelves were bare. And uh, you know, and it's funny how those businesses are closed down, considered non-essential, but you know, liquor stores and marijuana dispensaries are still open. I ain't got no problem with people getting their enjoyment on. But you know, things like that let me that doesn't not selling guns and ammo doesn't have anything to do with a contagion. You know,
mm-hmm.
if a grocery store can stay open and it's not that big, then a gun store can stay open. You know, why not do the same thing for the
Do you
mall?
think? But do you think they may have done that because it's not essential, or just because they don't want people like stocking up on that kind of stuff right now?
If you know what the Second Amendment is,
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't mean that it doesn't have to be essential. It's your right. You can just be a collector. You can just get it just in case.
True.
But to say we're going to call that non-essential, um, you know, it just doesn't add up to me. But I this is what I think. In the 19th century, there were every genocide, from reports that I've read and books that I've read and articles and interviews that I've listened to. every genocide was preceded by gun confiscation or limitations. Now, it just, to me, you know, if you're gonna announce by way of your police chiefs that you're not gonna answer certain calls, and certain officers can't work and they're limited in what they can do because they're either getting sick or they're afraid and their safety is in jeopardy, and you're disallowing certain places, you're not allowing people in certain places to buy something with which to protect themselves. That, to me, is a clear sign that something else is not right. It just that, you know, what does my buying a gun or ammunition, which is my Second Amendment right, have to do based on the state that I live in, because that's going to determine what you can get. Some people can't get anything. You got a lot of red tape to go through. But what does that have to do with a virus? If I can go into a place and line up and be 6 feet apart from people at a weed dispensary, I should be able to do that at a gun store. You know, even at the mall. You know, if you decide to have people there, I know it's a little bit harder to corral all those people, but, you know, you don't see, this is what I find strange, you know, at the press conferences with the higher ups and the political elite or whatever, they'll stand up on that stage and be shoulder to shoulder, no mask, no gloves, no social distancing.
Right.
But the reporters have to sit 3 and 4 seats apart from one another, you know, and only a few of them are allowed in there. It's just certain things just aren't adding up. You know, it's like the rules, like this virus should not be, you're not immune because you wear a suit and tie and you're of a certain political authority, or if you're an officer. The virus does not, it doesn't discriminate like that. You know, a lot of people saying this is a racist virus because it's killing more black people than anyone else, according to reports. That's suspicious to me too. Like, what is going on? So I just want people to think, I don't know how much time we have, but I just want people to just stop and pay attention. Find alternative means, you know, get it. Like if you go to a doctor and say, I'm gonna get a second opinion, get a second and third opinion on your own information. And mind you, by second and third opinion, I don't mean an opinion based on what's happening. Find other resources with which to inform yourself. Get other alternative sources, because when you listen to things like Donald Trump saying the presidential authority is total, and when you hear these different mainstream media pundits saying that it is their job to tell us what's going on, and you hear them say that, and you say, well, we don't want people to be thinking a certain way. It's our job to tell you what's going on. Okay. No, you have the right to find information your own way.
Exactly.
So, you know, talk to your folks.
It say we got less than 2 minutes left, but I just want to wrap this up real quick with you continuing on what you were saying, because I definitely, I tell people that all the time: research, no matter what you come across, no matter what we say, anybody else say. But before we go, first I want to thank you so much for joining my live today, and
it's all
I really
good.
Appreciate it. But I want to let people know where they can find you, where they can follow you, what you got coming up next, and how we can support you.
Well, I'm on Instagram here. This is, I guess, I'm on Instagram and Twitter, Timon K. Durrett. I'm hardly ever on Facebook. If you want to reach me, talk to me, ask questions, hit me up. If you got any information that you feel that you may need, if I can help, because I kind of dig into this. Now, I don't kind of dig into it. I dig into a lot, but certain things I know more than others. But it would just be my advice and the way I see things. I'm not an authority or some guru that's going to give you this cure-all or how to fix your problems, because, you know, there are far too many variables to the equation. But I'm all about, you know, if I can, to inform and help, you know, people, but especially our people, because we've been at such a disadvantage for so long. I feel that even if we can all start at the same line as far as information goes, and you know, I think we'd be better off. So
awesome. On that note, you enjoy the rest of your evening. Stay safe out there, you and everyone else. And I'm gonna upload this in case anybody wants to go back and watch it. That's okay. We had such a great time. Definitely would love to have you back.
Yeah, let's do it again. Let's do it again soon.
Okay, take care.
Yep. All right. Peace, y'all.
Bye.
All right.